Hello everyone, welcome to a huge edition of the Tragics. It's great to have your company for another week. So much to get through. I'm going to start tonight, the breaking news, I guess, coming out of Elsternwick Park over the weekend. Obviously, first round of finals in the divisions on the weekend, and we reported 600 dim sims previous Sunday for the women's grand finals. Well, it was only 500, wasn't it?
500.
So we've upped that by more than double. We're 1,200 dim sims sold at Elsternwick Park on the weekend in 2 days. That is astonishing numbers.
Unbelievable.
I understand the team at the shop are not overly happy that we've driven down the prices.
Well, their profit margin isn't as much as it once was. But
the other side of it is we've driven sales. People are now
100%.
going to the football to get dim sims.
Well, you think about the weather on the weekend. How many people would have bought dim sims maybe a year or two ago in that sort of weather?
Well, I actually thought this. I thought, well, given the women's final was horrendous, we had the hail obviously with the grand final there, and I thought, well, obviously the sales are going to be generated because a warm dim sim in a cup is going to be exactly what you're craving. But given the beautiful sunshine conditions on the weekend on both Saturday and Sunday, I'm astonished that 1,200 were sold, and congratulations to everyone for getting behind dim sims at the VAFA.
It's incredible.
Plenty of highlights on the weekend, so many to get through. Why don't you kick us off? What are your highlights from the weekend?
Well, I was at the Fitzroy ACU luncheon on Saturday, and it was great to see that they opened up with a little bit of entertainment. Her name is Tess Plant Thomas, or as they call her, Lettuce, and she played her own song, an original that she wrote about the team down at Fitzroy ACU. Now, she's from overseas.
Oh, where's she from?
She's from, I think, Canada or America or something like that.
Couldn't determine the accent?
She may have said it, I may not have been listening, who knows? But she put together this fantastic song, so just have a listen to this.
I love my red, yellow, blue, my Fitzroy ACU. I love my red, yellow, blue, my Fitzroy ACU. I tell friends at home that I've joined a footy team, and they ask me how I like playing soccer overseas. And I know how many times I have to tell them it ain't soccer, it's footy, it's way better, it's not for the wussies and salty. My Fitzroy ACU, I love my red, yellow, blue, my Fitzroy ACU.
And I know a couple of years ago, I think you did a search for the star.
Search for a star?
Yeah, so if there was something like that going around, I think Tess might be right up there.
That's a superb effort. Love a bit of their own music, and I think in the Search for a Star we had clubs coming up with their own songs during that process. I've got so many highlights from the weekend. Chad Jones kicking 100 goals.
Massive.
Which is fantastic. Maybe we'll just roll the videotape on that. Great to see the fans getting around him. I love it. It's a shame it wasn't at the other end for the proper vision from the VAFA cameras. But certainly the St Bernard's guys were on it, particularly with all the mobile phones ready to go for a goal in the goal square.
And yeah, the fact that it wasn't a set shot, and I think he kicked about 7 behind, so I don't know if he was feeling the pinch.
Here's a few of the misses now as we talk about him. So yeah, probably a bit nervous going for goal 100.
He must have been, but I mean, he's played 15 games this year to kick 100 goals. It's just absolutely outstanding.
I think really important for St Bernard's that he got that out of the way. This week. So they would have been feeding him all day. Let's get to the 100 this week, get out of the way so it's not hanging over his head going into a final against Dalkerry. And the other thing, in a final, you don't want the crowd to all storm on the ground during a final against Dalkerry next week at Box Hill.
Not if he kicks in the first quarter or something like that. No, 100% agree.
So glad that he got it. Congratulations. 18 goals in a row St Bernard's kicked against the Jackets as well.
It's been tough one for the Jackets.
Yeah, they found themselves, they'll be in Premier C next year. Other highlights from the weekend. I mean, the retirements are across the league. Guys saying they're hanging out the boots. As you know, with VAFA footy though, there's always getting juiced back a lot of these guys, but I'm not too sure blokes like these guys will. So Ben Phibbs from Mazenod, unbelievable career, was a premiership player in A section with St Bede's Mentone Tigers, and part of that three-peat rise over the journey, back to Mazenod, back to his old stomping ground, and he's delivered so much for that club, but unfortunately they got relegated on the weekend. Great to see him being clapped off there. Stephen Milne at Beaumaris would have liked a photo through their Twitter account. Beaumaris, they've gone a bit off the boil in recent years.
Yeah, they're not so much on the Twitter. I think they're a bit bigger on Facebook at the moment.
Yeah, I think they need to lift their game, the Sharks.
Yeah, their Twitter handle, I reckon, has changed over the last couple of years, so they need to get back involved there.
Yeah, a bit disappointed there. And Dave Bruno from Old Ivanhoe as well being chaired off here as well. So sensational. I know there's plenty others. We've got Brendan Yetzi to come as well whenever Old Trinity finish their run. Absolute people that are long-standing servants of their clubs and great to see. Right, William Buck Premier. Let's start the show. There was a huge first opening bit.
Massive.
William Buck Premier. The die was cast on the weekend when Old Scotch will find themselves back in Premier B after they went down to Uni Blues by a couple of goals at the Uni Oval. I mean, there was a goal kicked towards the end there, but it got the margin a bit closer than perhaps it was. It did stretch out a little bit, but Blues would be happy to stay up.
Yeah, absolutely they would be. I mean, it was a genuine relegation game. At about quarter time when you saw that De La Salle down at Brindisi were up by about 8 goals already, you knew that this was the game to be at, the Blues and Scotch.
So would they have had people telling them at quarter time? Do you tell the players? You reckon you tell the players
Absolutely
at quarter time what's going on?
I reckon you would. I mean, I'm not a senior coach, but I reckon you do. You use that as
I
motivation.
don't know. I reckon coaches are in their own. They're just like, we only have to worry about where we're worrying about. Don't worry about what's happening elsewhere.
But once you see that De La are up by 50 points at half time, you know that this is now or never, do or die. If these boys don't get up, it's done.
I reckon supporters are probably telling them at least over the fence anyway. So yeah,
100%.
Yeah, so it's tough for the Cardinals. I mean, we called it on the show early in the year.
Yep.
They lost a lot of close games. I felt for them at the time, thinking, no, they're gone. I felt like they looked like the obvious ones to go down with St Bede's when St Bede's had only won one game early as well. And we probably said it on the show. We copped it a little bit, particularly when they got on their run, Old Scotch. And I thought, well, maybe they can get out. Their percentage was strong enough, but in the end, they just fell away in the back half of the year. And it's amazing. It again proves just how challenging it is to come up from Premier B. Obviously, Old Brighton have bucked that trend, and they're going to play finals, but it is really challenging.
Well, we said earlier in the year, when you do lose those tight ones, how hard it is to come back, but they also over the past few weeks lost Nick Jamieson to his ACL, so when you're losing him along with Jack Bull, who was obviously playing and still playing really well, but if you lose one of your top 2 players, it makes it a lot more difficult. So bad luck for Old Scotch. They'll be back in Premier B, but the carrot is that they could get that flag that they missed against Brighton last year.
That's true. The other stories coming out of William Buck Premier, De La Salle managed to stay up with a big win over St Bede's Mentone. First win down at Brindisi for a long time as well, and Paul Satterley goes out on a win.
Yeah, absolutely. So great for Sats. He's been a great servant in that club for 5 years now. I think he's been coaching. So he announced that after the game to both sides.
I feel for Sats really, because De La at times under him, and he struggled with injuries a lot through the period. They had 1 year where they just escaped relegation. They had 1 year where they charged home after being so far behind, and you think, imagine if they'd shown that form in the early rounds. Obviously an outstanding coach, just couldn't quite get the best for a full season out of the De La Salle team that he had.
And the one thing I think they were missing over that entire journey was that one key forward. Like maybe if that would have changed things, maybe they would have threatened for a flag at some point, but they continually didn't have that one key forward.
And another thing that hurt them, I reckon, the guys that were continually going to VFL back and forward.
Massively.
In Divino. They lost Jake Williams for a couple of years through that period as well. I know he came back last year. You obviously had, 2 years ago, was it Jake Williams? 2 years ago. Sammy Williams was away for periods of that time as well. So I think that hurts a little bit when you've got some of your prime moves that we all know and love through the VAFA that are spending time away at VFL level as well. St Kevin's got the minor flag. They'll be pretty happy going into September again. Oh,
absolutely, they would be. They're just peaking at the right time of the year. I think we even said it last week. They're getting all these players back. Nick Wood was that missing piece that didn't play last week, and Lockie Sullivan, now that Footscray out of the finals, VFL level, he'll come back into that midfield.
We're going to speak to Mitch Brown, who's going to be our special guest on the Tragics, so stick around for that to talk all things St Kevin's as they go into defend their premiership in a couple of weeks' time. They've got to get through the second semi first next weekend. Old Melburnians, they sign off their season. They've managed to start. Nath Brown is another one. Question marks on whether he'll go around again as their senior coach. He's been, I think, 7 or 8 years longest serving coach. I think currently in the VAFA across all sections. Yeah,
he is, and he's been fantastic. I think he thought about maybe giving it away last year. They got Paul O'Connell in from Old Carey as maybe a bit of a succession plan. So if that does come to fruition, Oakley might be in charge down there next year. But Nathan Brown, you'd be hard-pressed to find a better bloke in amateur football, I reckon.
Old Trinity, surprise collegians on the weekend. How far can they go in September?
Well, you don't know. I mean, we were talking to Brendan Yetzi on the podcast last week, and he said that he thinks this side is better than the 2016 grand final side that lost to Old Zavarians. So they've got these players, they're fit, like Tinny's fit. Yetzi's obviously just come back. Seb Nicolosi's playing at a level he has never played before, same with Ben Howe. So they've got all these names, the same names that we knew from 2 years ago, but Ned Hunt was back, and Jake Steinhardt's the other one that's come back.
Old Trinity and Old Brighton last met in the final in the Premier B grand final, in 2013.
Yep.
Old Brighton won by 8 points, so that's one of those grand finals that Old Trinity have lost on the way through. they're going to play an elimination final, as happens every year, I reckon, in VAFA football. You fall in love with one of these sides in the first elimination final, the first semi-final, it's elimination final. You think, oh, it'd be great if they were able to go through. Old Trinity, that's the case with Brendan Yetzi. Old Brighton, for the fact they've come up from Premier B as premiers, and hopefully they can go on and do some damage in William Buck Premier as well. But when it all is all said and done, we're going to get a winner out of this first semi-final. It's played on Sunday. And they're going to go into the prelim final, and then they've got to beat Collegians or St Kevin's. And maybe they win that game, maybe they don't, but then they've got to beat some Collegians or St Kevin's in the grand final. So it's just a tough ask beating the top two sides 2 weeks in a row. Matty Hanley kicked 4 goals in his 250th game, so big shout out to Chopper.
Yeah,
congratulations to him as well.
One of us.
Yeah, absolutely. One a tragic at heart as well. So well done, Chopper, on 250 games. Zabs will be back next year in Premier Section. In Premier B, Caulfield Grammarians, I called it probably 6 to 8 weeks ago. They're in the finals. Big win over Parkdale Vultures, secured their spot. Beaumaris couldn't win quite by enough against Old Hailebit. They did send off Stephen Milne in style, which was great to see. Milne kicking 3 goals. Just on Stephen Milne, I think when he first came into the VAFA competition, there was question marks of, is he serious? You know, because he played a couple of games in the country after he retired from St Kilda. He's been an unbelievable contributor to the competition. Played a rep game, played in a Prem B flag, and has played a few seasons at Beaumaris. Like, congratulations on really giving back to local footy.
Oh, and apparently he's fantastic with the juniors. He really gives them his time. He's played 42 games, so he's kicked over 100 goals. I mean, he's just... And he sponsors the club through his own business. Like, he's genuinely giving back to the competition, and he loves it down there, and they love him down there. He's just a great bloke. And I remember in that rep game that you were talking about, he kicked 3 goals in the opening half and really set us up there. It was fantastic. Yeah,
congratulations on a great career. We mentioned Ben Phibbs. Carey will play St Bernard's in a second semi-final. In fact, we didn't give a tip in the Premier William Buck Premier. We'll do it at the end of the show. But Premier B, well, let's just quickly through the semi-finals. St Bernard's Old Carey at Box Hill City Oval on Saturday. Who do you like going to that game?
I don't see St Bernard's losing at the moment. I think all their big guns, the Jones, the Sullivans, the Bentiks, even Clark in the ruck if he plays. I mean, they're the key for them, and they've got a really good mix of younger blokes. So I just don't see them losing, and I think I'd be surprised. But in saying that, Jax is playing back to playing fantastic football.
A couple of bags of 4 in the last couple of weeks.
Yep. So I mean, they've got the top end talent Carey as well. Who do you reckon?
Yeah, well, Carey beaten them earlier this year, so that's a plus. I mean, obviously my heart says Carey, but I think probably St Bernard's get through to win back to William Buck Premier and get a chance at a grand final.
Yeah.
That leaves Blacks versus Caulfield, which will be at Trevor Barker Oval on the Sunday. Caulfield, we mentioned, have made it. Blacks are flying though as well, and really have only missed out on top 2 spot on percentage and 1 extra loss there.
Yeah,
which is how you miss out on the top 2.
That is, it's a good one. I think Blacks are quietly confident too. I mean, Cam Roberts, as we know, is one of the best coaches in competition, former Big V coach, but they're quietly confident that they've pieced together a very good side. They've got some players that have come back over the last couple of weeks, so I wouldn't be surprised to see them potentially go all the way. I wouldn't be surprised at all.
Yeah, I think Blacks will get through there as well. In Premier C, Williamstown CYMS will host Fitzroy at Bill Laurie Oval on Saturday in the second semi-final. Willie did go down in their last home and away game, probably resting a few players. Oggs, who finished 3rd, will be in a first semi on the Sunday. Great result for them, but Willie, chance to win through to Premier B for their first time in their history.
That would be massive for Williamstown out there. Now, they've gone 1-1. Head-to-head with Fitzroy this year, so I can't wait to see that. I mean, Fitzroy got them at home, and then Willie got them back by 22 points last week. So, despite the fact they did lose on the weekend, they beat Fitzroy only a couple of weeks ago, so they'll be going in with a bit of confidence.
Yeah, I think Williamstown get through to the grand final and win through to Premier B in that second semi-final. The first semi-final, Old Geelong against Old Camberwell. Old Camberwell have been a fairy tale story this year, I think, making the 4 and coming through the way they have. Big winners over Peninsula on the weekend, but Oggs, I think, probably get over Old Camberwell.
Yeah, I think so. Old Camberwell had that 8-run stretch where they were just unbeatable at the time. Not too long have that, especially after what they did against Williamstown.
Been a huge first segment of the Tragics. We're going to talk division finals. Have Mitch Brown in the studio, so stick around. We'll be back right after this. Back on the Tragics, and we're joined at the desk by Mitch Brown from St Kevin's Old Boys. Mitch, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. Awesome. Thanks,
Another
guys.
finals campaign. Are you looking forward to it?
Yeah, it's always good this time of year. What do they say? The grass, you can smell the spring in the air. I know it's not spring
Nice
just
conditions
yet,
on the
but
weekend, wasn't it?
yeah, it was awesome. The week before though, it was blowing. We were playing it down at Beach Oval against Brighton, and I wanted to retire then and there. I wasn't even thinking about finals then, but it was nice on the weekend. So I don't know what the forecast is for
I haven't
this.
looked at it either. No.
No, you're not,
Don't know. No,
we need to get the weatherman on board.
I'm not really into the weather.
Are you confident? Are you confident at the moment going into this final series?
Right, to be honest, we did. Obviously, we had some players missing through injury and others through vacation, which I got a bit grumpy about. But they do what they need to do, work on their tans and things like that. Nick Wood and a few others, Strauss.
Did they come back in good nick?
They did. Albeit Straussy, I think, put on a couple of kilos, but I think he was overweight before he left. So, but he's running well now. He's got the a couple of weeks obviously. But we are confident. We've always been a team that's sort of backed in our own ability. Like we go in and we do a little bit of opposition analysis, but not too much. We always go, if we're bringing our strengths on game day, we can sort of beat anyone, and we'll be doing the same this week. Albeit we know Collegians are a great team, and I think they're better than last year. So yeah, we are confident, but we know we're going to be up for a bit of a fight.
So how does it compare to this time last year when you're going in as probably still the favourites and going in, but you hadn't won one at this point?
Yeah, I know. It's I've never won a premiership before, so I've never played a following season with
as reigning premiers.
Yeah, I guess with a bit of a head wobble, but I'm not that I've done it this year. No, I did get accused of doing it on the weekend when the old Melburnians assistant coach told me I was head wobbling, but I wasn't. I was just sore, got whacked. But, no, it is. It's nice to know that you've been there and done it, and it's almost, we've won the premiership last year, and it's good to draw from that. But it was games, I think, last year. There was 2 games off my top of the head. Sorry, there was one against Old Zads earlier on in the year where we came back in the last quarter, and then another game against OMs at Alstonwood Park where it was really windy that day, but we came back as well. So we always, those 2 games, no matter what point of if we were losing in a game, we know that we have the ability and the belief to get back, and those are the kind of things that sort of I take from last year, not only the premiership, but those games.
If we were to ask you at the start of the season who was going to win the goal kicking and you had to name a St Kevin's player, would you have said Billy Kanakis?
Well, I did. Yeah, I did. I remember talking to player Anthony Lish, our captain, over pre-season, and that he's one guy, Billy Kanakis, that did attack our pre-season over summer. He was on a mission, and he did raise the level in his own playing ability. So I'm not surprised, to be honest. He did have a good season last year, and it's nice for him to step up. Obviously, winning the goal kicking on the weekend, and even playing rep football as well. I remember talking to him when he was sort of in the squad, and I was like, mate, you're going to play. You're a really good player. I'll back you in. And obviously, I was talking to Stewie Powell as well, and yeah, he's had a great season. And to be honest, and he's one of those players that he played a couple of games for Coburg late in the season for us, for Coburg, and I would love to see him have a chance at the next level, whether it's VFL or AFL, and him and Tommy Jock, and there's a few others too that I do really, and I'll go off track here, but I do believe that the A grade and VAFA is a breeding ground for guys to get drafted.
More so than Bernard's guys in recent years, with Ronk and Mitch Hannon as well, who've come through St Bernard's system to get drafted pretty much into the AFL as
Absolutely.
well.
How have you found the standard of William Buck Premier since you came in 2 years ago?
Yeah, good. So the first last year, my last AFL game was an elimination final against the Bulldogs, where they beat us by heaps. And the first game was obviously at TH King, and I remember, and I didn't know what the kind of standard was. I was expecting, obviously, it's down from state league and things like that. I remember the ball getting kicked off the ground and went into the river, and I'm like, oh, do I have to go get it now? Boys like, you've got to go get it, Brownie. Like, okay, it's a bit of a drop down, but honestly, it took me a while to adjust, because I thought it was going to be a walk in the park. To be honest, I thought it was going to be a walk in the park, but you have to, it's challenging. You have to be on your A game to play.
I reckon the players that have come back from AFL to play in the VAF, and there's been a few of them, eventually become excellent players in the competition. Their first half of the year was they were just getting used to it.
Yeah,
Adam Bentinck's an example, Cam Howard in recent years as well. They took just half a season to get going.
And to be honest, it took me half season last year to get going. So you have to adjust, but it's a very high standard of footy, and something that I'm proud to be a part of. And it's really kept me engaged. I'm at an age now where I could easily just finish up, but it's definitely kept me engaged, and I'm wanting more, and I'm getting challenged each week, and which is fantastic.
Did you join the right training group when you first went down to St Kevin's?
It's funny. That did pop up again too, because I remember some 18-year-old, I don't know, I rocked up and I didn't know anyone at that stage. My first session, and he said, where are you here to play Colts or reserves? And I'm like, trying to push up for the seniors, so I didn't know who it was. But I had a trainer sort of battling a corky at the moment. I don't mind saying it because I'll play anyway, regardless this week. The trainer goes, Brownie will just wrap you up. Are you in the resis or the seniors? I was like, oh mate, what do you mean? It's like, we'll use this tape if you're in the resis. And mate, I'm in the seniors. Give me the good tape.
I didn't know there was good tape and bad tape.
Me either. But, anyway, but my corky's good, don't.
Yeah, good stuff.
We were speaking to Michael Christian a couple of weeks ago on the podcast, and he said that it was actually the week that he'd suspended your brother, your twin brother Nathan. And he said that he avoided you that week. I mean, did you speak to him during the week?
Well, it's a good thing. So the Tuesday night I was away for work. I was interstate, so that was fine. The Thursday night I did rock up, and I was trying to look for him, and he was seriously. I did send him a text. I did send him a text on Friday night when the incident did happen. I was like, mate, and joking, because it was a bit late. I knew Nathan was going to cop some weeks. But I sent him a text. I was like, mate, if you give him more than 1 week, I'm not playing finals for Scots. Anyway, it was a joke. So, but yeah, that was a bit of a laugh. I did see them talking to each other last week against Old Brighton.
Now, he might have a couple of years left, and I know you just mentioned before you could turn away tomorrow if you wanted to. Yep. Would there ever be a chance that if Nath retired from the AFL, that you could ever line up alongside him for St Kevin's? Yeah,
it's good question, because that's something that I do want to tick off.
When did you last play together? Would it have been school footy or something like that?
TAC Cup, so under 18. And I mean, like, we did everything together. We obviously we shared the same room together. It was no, because we were twins. And but we're in the same classes at school, same basketball team, same rowing crews, everything. And then obviously AFL careers, opposite sides of the country. So it's one thing I would love to, and because we only started playing footy in TAC Cup, so we only had two years of actually playing footy together in the same team. So
you like all brothers? You managed to find each other all the time, or you're at different ends of the ground?
We were at different ends of the ground, so it was fine. But I would love for him to play. At Scobbs with me again. So obviously going for another premiership probably.
Because you guys, I think you were talking to us earlier in the year on the podcast, and you were saying you guys used to run around our backyard with Rex Hunt playing in the backyard. That was one of your memories.
Yeah, no, it was a fond memory. We just had Dad used to work for Telstra, so we had the PVC pipes on that we put up as the goals, and have the radio blaring of Rex Hunt. And it was just good memories. So,
any favourite memories of Rex?
Oh, I love when he used to. It was hard trying to figure out who was who, because he used nicknames, and as a young fella, I wouldn't know what was going on. So, but
I don't think many people
the best thing that I do miss with commentary at the moment is the where he used to. The fat lady sings, that kind of thing. When the game's
I love
over,
the fat lady
and
singing.
you do the knocking on the door. Yeah. It's like, I used to love that. I miss that.
Very funny stuff.
Yeah.
So, collegians, when is the fat lady going to sing to see you guys into another grand final, or go to the wire?
Yeah, like I said before, guys, I think it's going to be a tough game. So, and I mean, last year's grand final, I would have thought that midway through that last quarter, that siren was well and true. I could hear that knocking on the door, but they came back and nearly stole it from us. So it'll be the same this week, and we're expecting a good fight from them. We know that they've lost the last 2 of the 3 games, but that doesn't mean anything, because we're sort of coming off sort of similar with losing to Uni Blues and D-La recently as well. So But both teams, their season sort of campaigners, they've been here and done it before, and you know, I think it's a nice little advantage to win this game and have the week off.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Thanks very much for coming in. Good luck on the weekend.
No worries. Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.
Really good to see it. Mitch Brown from Scobs joining us. They're going to play Collegians at Elstonwick Park on Saturday. We'll be back with more after this.
Anytime is the right time to get fit at Anytime Fitness. Access over 400 gyms across the country 24/7 and discover why more Australians train at Anytime Fitness than any other gym. Go online and register now for your free 7-day pass and feel something better.
Welcome back to the Tragics. Great to have Mitch Brown at the desk joining us. We mentioned we're going to talk division finals. Let's get into those. We both picked a final that we thought was going to live up to the hype. I reckon I nailed it with Hawthorn and Glen Ira.
I reckon you did too.
1 point result. Glen Ira through to a grand final, returning up to Division 1. Division 2, sorry. Up to Division 2. After they won a flag in Division 3 a few years ago, so they get another chance at winning another Division 3 flag.
Yep.
Hawthorn came back at them though, didn't they?
They did. They came back really hard, and I think it was about 2 or 3 minutes to go where they cut back to 1 point. Obviously, Julius Carstensen unfortunately broke his arm earlier in the game, so he wasn't there to try and stem the flow of Hawthorn goals, but they just couldn't get over the line. But they're every chance this weekend. They're taking on Westbourne Grammarians, who had a great win over Aquinas, ended Aquinas' 5-game winning streak. So, look, it's going to be a sensational prelim. And I reckon Hawthorn every chance with Julius Carstensen out now for the remainder of the season. They're half a chance to get that first flag since 1998.
They play Westbourne Grammarians, who beat Aquinas. Aquinas made a late charge, of course, to get to September, but it was a bit too much, bridge too far for Aquinas to get through. Westbourne get a chance to have win their way through to a grand final as well.
So it was only a couple of years ago that Westbourne were winning the Division 4 grand final, so it'd be great to see. Obviously, they're without Michael Culliver, which we announced a couple of weeks ago, their captain. So it'll be tough without him, but they've got a really good side, really experienced side.
Wasn't the only 1 point result on the weekend the Hawthorn Glen Ira game?
No, it was not. Now, take a look at this. Now, I know it's every guy's dream to try and kick a goal after the siren and win a grand final, win a final. Unfortunately, Theory just couldn't get it done against Oakley on the weekend. They were a point down and didn't quite make the distance there, Lenny. But what a performance from Oakley. Aaron Cloak kicked 8 goals. Obviously,
already passed the ton this year.
Centurion last week, wasn't he?
Yep.
Disappointing for Theory Penola. They've had a sensational season, but they obviously rested a few players, including the Bannisters last week, and got smacked by Oakley, and Oakley had that confidence and took it in on the weekend. Yeah.
North Brunswick return to Division 3, or move up to Division 3 for the first time in 18 years.
Unbelievable. And you said this off screen, like, you love these types of stories. We do. Like, these are the type of stories that you want to hear about. The club only 8 to 9 years ago was thinking about folding, like they were in that much trouble. Now they've broken that 18-year run. They're going to have a women's team next year, and things are starting to look up at North Brunswick.
If you're talking about years in the wilderness or years down in a section, let's talk about UHSVU getting back up to Division 1 for the first time in, how many years is it?
40.
40 years.
40
it's incredible.
years.
So with their 16-point win over Old Paradians, the Vultures are going beautifully.
Absolutely beautifully after taking the Div 3 flag last year, sorry. And so they'd spent 9 straight years. They'd had 7 straight final series, I think, without even getting promoted. So they got through that barrier, Div 3 flag last year, and now it looks like they're going up to Div 1.
White Friars present a challenge for Old Paradians in the prelim final next week.
Absolutely, they do. Now, White Friars had a pretty bad run mid-year, but they've definitely ironed all those kinks out. They've had 5 to 6 games on the trot. Kristen Hart is leading a very good unit there, so they'll take some beating.
So quickly in a word, Oakley versus Hampton Rovers in their prelim in Division 1.
Hampton Rovers.
Old Paradians with White Friars in Division 2.
I'm going to say White Friars.
I'm going Old Paradians there and Rovers in the previous one against Oakley, unfortunately. Hawthorn, Westbourne Grammarians in Division 3.
Hawthorn.
Yeah, Hawthorn for me. And Parkside will come up against St Francis Xavier in Division 4's prelim final.
Parkside.
Yeah, I think Parkside there as well, with St Francis Xavier getting the win over South Melbourne on the weekend. Best use of social media. Big segment. I tweeted this last week. Welcome to the Tragics, Harry Osborne from Old Brighton. Loved this. I loved his PB in the 100 at over 24 seconds. I love the Lance Whitnell reference. I just love the general profile taking the mick. The other one I did enjoy, well, I don't know if I enjoyed it. In fact, I don't think I do enjoy this one. We do like mixing of audio over footage, of VAFA footage. Old Trinity have done this through their Instagram account. Have a listen to this and I'll let you be the judge.
And as soon as they saw me, they came bounding over.
Yeah, so I'm a bit uncertain.
I love that.
I'm a bit uncertain.
I love that you've said that one. I absolutely love that. Obviously, the dog man, and put that down as Jack Hunt has just gobbled him up.
Yeah.
Nah, absolutely love that. Well, I'm going, when we mentioned it last week, the Silly Sunday outfits. Obviously, a lot of teams in the Premier sections finished on the weekend. So, as you can see, Ajax had their WWE-inspired costumes, and Josh Cowan was pretty prevalent across social media on the weekend with his. Samira Salesian are fantastic every year. Their boys and girls all get together in some ridiculous outfits. And some Beads Mentone Tigers, I mentioned Josh Cowan, but a few of their boys like Michael Barnes here in their Teletubbies outfits were outstanding. But my favourite piece of social media, we've already shown it today, but we need to show it again. It's fantastic. From behind the goals, Chad Jones kicking his 100th. And this is the type of stuff that we love. And the fact that he's even filming and it's not a set shot, and the fact that
having cameras ready just in case,
just
weren't
in
they?
case, absolutely. And you can see the umpire getting swamped there. Fantastic stuff from St Bernard's.
Very good. Right, on to the quick questions to wrap up the show. You kick us off, Nick.
Does Julius Warris Carstensen open the door? Does his injury, his broken arm on the weekend, open the door for Hawthorn's first senior flag?
Yes, it does, but Hawthorn have still got to win through in their prelim final. So if they do get through their prelim final, they're a big chance in the grand final. Yeah, they will. Will they win the grand final? We'll talk about that next week. See how they go in the prelim. With the home and away season finished, who are you liking in the Woodrow? We'll both have a crack at this one.
Well, I'm going to go with Anthony Scott from Old Trinity. I think he's taken his game to a new level this season. He's been outstanding. They've been very good, made the final, so they should poll pretty heavily. I think Gabe Hamilton's the only one that might take a few votes off him, but yeah, he's my tip, Scotty.
This guy over here, Mitch Brown, who has joined us at the desk just before, I reckon he's a big chance. He polled pretty well last year as well. Right, back to you.
I'm going to you. Will we see a 100-goal kicker, a Centurion, in the Premier section?
Hasn't been one since 1980, Peter Cavalis from Uni Blues, when he kicked 104 goals, and there's only been one in 67 years so far in the top section of the VAFA. The previous, before that, was back in 1952. So, history says
no.
Probably challenging. And I also think the style of footy now, the Premier section is the closest we've got to more senior levels of football, VFL, AFL, and just the styles, the fitness of the teams, the way teams play, team defence, no a single target as their forward. I think it's probably unlikely that we'll see it. Having said that, Chopper Hanley's probably been the mainstay key forward we've had in recent years. I think he's had seasons of 60s and 70s and 80 goals. It's a challenge to keep, and even in recent years, he's still been one of their key focuses, but probably the style that they've played means that they don't always go to him, which means he's not getting as many opportunities.
Well, I think in the recent years, for any leading goal kicker in Premier section, I think it's been around that 50-55 mark. We've seen again this year with Billy Kanakis, so no one's even really getting close.
Exactly right. Can Aaron Cloak lead Oakley to the grand final?
Absolutely, he can.
Hang on, you just said no, you're tipping against them.
He can, but he won't. They haven't beaten, who are they playing this year? They haven't beaten them all this year, Hampton Rovers, so I think they'll struggle on the weekend, but I'd love to see it.
It's been a huge show. We've gone over time. Thanks for sticking around the full length of the show. Enjoy the footy this weekend. Hope your team has a win. We'll see you next week on the Tragics.